You talked about propaganda, 6 weeks of propaganda. How will you counter that when you have less money than the Conservatives? Well, ideas are always more important than money. Thank you very much.
NDP leader Jack Layton accusing Stephen Harper of locking the door of Parliament. This in response, of course, to the news from the Prime Minister after meeting with the Governor-General that Parliament is now prorogued. The session is over. A new Parliament or a new session of Parliament will happen on January 26th. Stephen Harper says that's when the focus and priority will be on the economy. But Jack Layton is saying Canadians cannot trust Stephen Harper, as certainly opposition parties have no confidence in the Conservative government, and he indicated, Layton did, that his party will vote against the Conservatives at the very first opportunity. So that is the latest in the political reaction. We continue to keep our eyes on the foyer of the House of Commons because we're expecting more reaction any time now. Stéphane Dion is expected to respond as well. Meantime, we check in with our senior parliamentary editor, Don Newman. So, Don, here is the million-dollar question. Where do we go from here?
MPs go home, and they come back on the 26th of January. But in between, we'll have seen a big public relations campaign by the Conservatives. It'd be interesting to see what we find the coalition is up to. I think there'll be a lot of maneuvering and a lot of opportunities there for the coalition not to hold together, although you heard both Layton and Gilles Duceppe is not part of the coalition but supports it with his votes in the House, saying they thought it would hold together. What we do know is there'll be a throne speech on the 26th of January and the budget right the next day. And the throne speech will probably be one of the shortest throne speeches on record. Probably my government refers you to the throne speech that I delivered on the 20th of November and which the House of Commons approved on the 29th of November, and that is still our agenda. Come back tomorrow and we'll give you a budget. I think that's probably the way they're going to do it. So really we'll come back and then we'll have the budget one day after everybody gets back. In the meantime, Stéphane Dion should be here in a moment. He's been outside addressing a rally in support of the coalition. The coalition, will it survive, and will Mr. Dion survive as its leader if it does survive? Some people in the Liberal Party were not all that keen about the idea, decided to go along with it, weren't that keen on him leading it, decided to go along with that. But now some, I'm sure, I haven't heard this yet, but I'm sure they'll say green shift, bad idea, coalition, not a very good idea. Stéphane Dion, only 2 strikes, but you're out.
So, Don, certainly I know you've been talking to so many people as this drama has been unfolding today. When you talk about Stéphane Dion and what Liberals are saying about this, I mean, a lot of people were watching the statements to the nation last night and were somewhat puzzled by even the production value of Stéphane Dion's statement. What were you hearing about that today amongst Liberals?
Well, frankly, they're embarrassed. I mean, privately they're embarrassed. Publicly, they put on a brave face. It's reminiscent to some degree of the election campaign where they didn't have a plane ready to go, had to get an old plane from Air Inuit, and just had a very difficult time keeping up with the Conservatives and the NDP, even in terms of running a slick operation, which is required in this age of mass communications. And again, last night's video brought that all home. First, it wasn't very well produced, it wasn't very well shot, and it was late. They couldn't even get it on time to the television networks, and one of the networks didn't get it in time to put it on in prime time at all. So those are the kind of things that drove the Liberals crazy with the Dion campaign, and why they moved so quickly after the election results to get him to admit to leave. And now they're seeing it all again. So, and they don't like what they see.
You know, it's interesting. As you were watching Stephen Harper, there was that flash of contrition when he spoke to reporters, when he said that we all have to take responsibility for the frustration being expressed by Canadians. And he indicated he would like to consult with everyone as they put together this economic package. But Stéphane Dion we're still waiting for, but Gilles Duceppe, Jack Layton saying this is someone we cannot trust. Jack Layton even saying we're poised to vote against this government when given the chance. What's the likelihood that even the economic statement or this budget will be brought forward?
Well, it'll certainly be, you mean the Harper budget? It'll be
Right.
brought forward for sure the day after Parliament comes back.
Right.
But if you saw a flash of contrition, you've got better eyes than I do, Nancy, or maybe a bigger monitor. I thought the moment he said, we all, yeah, I was looking, yeah. Yeah, Bob, can you come over here? Bob Rae is here in the lobby and in the foyer of the House of Commons. He's going to come and have a word with us, I think. And if you want to scrum around, that's okay. Scrum around. I don't care.
It's a busy time.
Bob Rae, your reaction. The House has been prorogued. The government will bring a budget down before you have a chance to have a confidence vote.
Well, then we'll have a confidence vote about the budget. I mean, you know, you can, to use a classic phrase, you can run, but you can't hide. I mean, the Prime Minister has suspended Parliament. It's unprecedented. I can't remember a time in our history. I can think of perhaps some other countries where that happens, but I can't think of a time in Canada when Parliament has been suspended so the Prime Minister of the day can avoid a confidence vote. He's clearly lost not only the confidence of the House, but the trust of the House. And I think it's too bad because I think there was a chance we could very quickly get on with a new government able to respond directly to the concerns of Canadians about the economy. And now we are in a state of suspended animation for several weeks while this takes place. And I think that the idea of an alternative to Mr. Harper, of Parliament working together, of Parliament working well together, is still the better idea. And I think that's what we have to go out and talk to Canadians about as we go forward.
But what will you say to Canadians who say Bob Rae is going to vote against a budget he hasn't even seen yet that may in fact include all the things that Bob Rae said had to be in a budget?
Because it's not just about a budget. It's about confidence in a government, Don. It's about confidence in a Prime Minister who, in my opinion, has clearly decided that he will throw any argument, he will use any attempt to call us unpatriotic or call us attack our commitment to the country, attack each one of our commitment to the unity of the country. He will miss about what has been proposed or what is being proposed. He will say things that are simply untrue in order to carry on. And I think this is really unprecedented. I think Canadians need to deal with this. I mean, we need a strong government. As long as the President is there, as long as he's acting the way he's acting, no signs of change. Not as yesterday, his speech country was profoundly misleading, deeply unfair, deeply hurtful to many, many Canadians who hold a different point of view. And I just think that's very problematic for the country.
Do you think the coalition is going to hold together over this period now until the 26th of January, particularly when you know there was some strains in it anyway, particularly in the Liberal Party?
Well, you know, Don, I think it's very important for people to stick together. You know, these are the times that try men's souls, as Thomas Paine said, and Thomas Paine also referred to the summer soldiers and the sunshine patriots. And I think we need to understand the fact that this is a time that really does test all of us. It tests Liberals, it tests New Democrats, it tests all members of Parliament, and it tests Canadians. Do we really want to have a government in place that is so profoundly undemocratic that it can't even meet the House of Commons? Do we really want to have a Prime Minister who is prepared to call anyone anything in order to get his way? And if you say to me, am I prepared to do that? My answer is very clearly, no, I'm not. And I'm just, you know, I am who I am, and I'm taking my position, not because I'm an unreasonable person, but because I honestly believe that this is a person, Prime Minister Harper, and the Reform Party agenda, which he's attempting to foist on the country, is profoundly bad for Canada. And I would be irresponsible if I didn't continue to express that point of view.
Well, let's keep with the American Revolutionary analogy for a moment. Neither of us knew George Washington, but most people in Canada don't think that Stéphane Dion is George Washington. And my point is he the general to lead the coalition, based particularly even on his performance last night, which looked, if I may suggest, and you can disagree, and you will if you, because you've never been slow to disagree with me, it looked like it'd been shot on someone's home telephone camera, and they couldn't get it to the television networks on time. George Washington would have done better than that, Mr. Rae.